Hello. So this video is to look at how to use Microsoft Planner, and we're going to use LRO Closeout as an example. We did talk in an earlier video about LRO Closeout and how we're using Compass, so I'll put that down in the comment section. But this here is to really understand Microsoft Project and how it can help you and how we've been using it. So I thought the first thing to kind of highlight is that this is part of Microsoft 360, and you can access it through Teams. I will put down a couple links that you may want to look at that may help you understand the mechanics and set up your own. But this is really to just give you a general overview of what Microsoft Planner is. So Microsoft Planner is somewhere between the old Outlook tasks. You may or may not have used those in the past. And Microsoft Project, which is a lot more advanced Microsoft product for project management. But for most activities we do, and especially ad hoc and smaller projects, Microsoft Planner is great, whether it's proposal development or closeout or other things. So here we have the board setting. And I'm going to go through and cover really three things. I want to talk about how is it laid out, how you can add a task, and then how can you monitor a task. So here you're going to see we have four different views that we can see the same data but in different formats. So the board kind of gives you is a good starting point to see how it looks like. So you can see we have these buckets: preparing, monitoring, we have compliance, supply chain, human resources, programming, financial, meal, and partner-led activity. So those are all different options that you have there, which are, these are buckets. Yeah, and those are, you'll see grouping by buckets here. The other thing that you can do, so let's just look at this in a second. So you can see we have preparing buckets, preparing, monitoring, closeout bucket. We have a label here. So that tells us this is a closeout plan. It gives us an overview, and it can tell you even who has participated or who's been tasked with this. So this is convene regular meetings. So that's the five of us on the committee: finance, myself, admin, meal, and then partner support with Get to Whom. So you can also see here in progress, you'll see that there's due dates, the due dates of activities. And that gives you a general sense of some of the things we're looking at. For supply chain, example here, we have a disposition plan that's been assigned to Philigot. That's due on the 6th. And again, we have what activities she needs to do. So we've created that for all these along here. So again, meal, and then some activities the partner needs to do. It's always good to remind ourselves that the partner has activities they need to do beyond just our scope. So in this case, the partner needs to do like setting up a project audit, and they need to do terminal reports, and they have other activities. So this gives you a general sense there. Of course, it's also really helpful as a manager and for everybody to keep track of what's going on. So here you can see is that we have lots of activities that we've done. I think we had around 160 activities. We have about 122 left. You can see how many we've completed, 41. We got two late ones. We'll look at those. We have in progress, 42. And then we have some that haven't started either because that particular activity is scheduled for later time, or we're waiting for some clarification from USAID. By default, everything goes to a medium. You can see even now by buckets, how many tasks there are. So let's give an example. Partner-led activity, we have 8 that have been completed, and they have about another 9 that they will be working on. For meal, definitely our largest number of activities we need to do. Makes sense closing the project. Then we have these other ones here, so you can get a full sense of those. So right now we've got something in meal, and we've got something in compliance, and we'll look at those shortly. And then you can even see by individuals. Now we have 5 people in our group. So these are, again, the different committee members. So that's what we've primarily assigned them to, and they're responsible to then reach out to people to complete the task. There's a schedule. So an example here would be is here on the 31st, these were kind of some of the activities that we had kind of scheduled to do by then. We did pretty well. There was a couple things that we haven't completed, and so that's good to know too. All right. A lot of the work that you'll be doing, you can do here in the list. And the list function is nice. You can look at it by who's it been assigned to. So you can see here, these have all been assigned to me. These are all the D's here. Yeah. You can see, you can sort by due date. You can even sort by bucket. Those are all nice. So let's go to due date here. And what you would typically do is you would add a task here. And then you would put in your task, your assigned name, priority, the date, choose your bucket and click here, which is great. And once you've done that, you can go down through and you can do a little bit more refining. So I'll give you an idea here. So I've chosen verify that anti-trafficking persons report requirements are met. So this is something that is required by CRS as what's called the anti-tip. I gave this, I'm prioritizing this to show you because this is a test that we've completed and I'll show you how that looks like, but also it's good to really make sure we understand maybe some of the more unfamiliar tasks that we need to do. And this is a task even myself wasn't familiar with until I went through and read Compass. So what we did here is we typed it out in this case, we put in the language from Compass. You can assign, so you can see you can assign, these are all kind of our people in our groups. We've created different labels depending how we've organized it. So here we said mandatory reporting. Again, that kind of aligns with the Compass. We did make some slight deviations, but in general, we've tried to honor that system. You can put in your buckets. Now, for progress, it only gives you 3 options, which is in progress, not started, or completed. That's how it's set up. So in this case, it's been in progress, and I'll show you how we will show completion. Priority is a drop down here. Then you have your start date, you have your end date. Here we have our list of items that these are our notes for ourselves. So where we've kind of posted things. Here you can even do a checklist, so you can add an item. So what we could say here is notify USAID or CRS that this task is completed. Give you an idea there. Yep. So what we had out here was initially was find out if the anti-tip was signed by the partner, secure the documents, and then we post it on Gateway. So those are ones that you can see. You can simply complete. If somebody completes it, they can do those. Yeah. And we're going to remove this now. And you can even go through and add attachments. So you can attach a file. You can put a link in, a SharePoint. In this case here, we're actually putting the link to the Gateway document that shows that we've completed that. When you put in here a comment, a message goes out to everybody in that group. So as we're only working with some people within the LRO group and not all people, we don't use this very often. So again, we're going to click here and we're going to go over here to charts. You can see here we have 122, which is great. Now, if you wanted to even come down here and see, well, how many do I have? You can click here. And come back up here, you can see 69. You can even do that for things like, partner meal. Maybe slightly different on that one. Let me see. No, I guess that's really just focusing on myself now. Okay. So as you noted before, it was 122 and it still is. Now we've added to tasks. The last thing I want to look at is how do you track a task. So we're going to go back here to list and we're going to click here. And now we're going to put in complete. And remember, this is one of the 2 tasks that was late. So we're now going to close it. It's no longer active, so you would have to go and see later on that it's in the completed tasks that have been done. But coming back to the chart here, you can now see we've gone down to 121. So this is a great tool for managing ad hoc tasks or shorter tasks, such as proposals or potentially even say the APP. So its functionality in managing a very large project may be more difficult, or you'd have to break that up into smaller groups. But we have found this very helpful as we close out LRO. So I hope that helps, and I will post this up on our little YouTube account. You're welcome to take a look at it. And I will also include some video links to some what I think are some really good videos on instructional. Take care.